when humans have got to this intelligent state, they have started to form writing systems. Now, writing systems are funny lines or symbols or hieroglyphs, whether from ancient Egypt or the ancient Aztecs or the Incas of South America. Images and lines and symbols are now being associated with sounds and vowels and pronunciations and words that is now forming a writing text system. So when the human primate, from an evolved primate, got to the human state, they experienced what we call in Asia self-realization, God realization, where they realize a higher consciousness, an omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, all-powerful, all-pervading, all-knowing, almighty. Now, some cultures refer to this almighty as a he, as a father lord, and in some cultures the higher consciousness is referred to as a she, as a mother goddess. Now, when these masters in spirituality in the ancient times got to the human state, they wrote down fictitious parables of how they realized at that time, at that moment, thousands upon thousands of years ago, of how they believed the almighty energy created us and how we came to be. So whether it is in Asia, the Trimurti, where it says from Vishnu, the god of sustainer of the universe, the Brahma came from his navel and created the world and the planets, and Shiva destroyed the world to bring us a new beginning and a new existence. That was a realization of a master who evolved from a primate into the human state and wrote down how they believed we came to be. And whether it is Genesis in the Old Testament, where it claims that the world was created in 7 days and God created a man from earth and called Adam, and from his rib the woman was created known as Eve. Now, this is a fictitious parable, a literal creationist theory of how an evolved primate into the human state had a realization of God consciousness and wrote down how they believed the Almighty created us. But we clearly know that is not true. That is not how the human beings on this planet came to be, because evolution proves that we evolved from a single cell within the depths of the ocean and evolved onto the land through various primates, through various millenniums, through various centuries, millions upon millions of years. So I do not take literally any religious scripture or parable, fictitious story of how they literally creationists claim that we were created to be. I reject literal creationism. I do not take it literally. But I do not deny what these masters, whether from Africa, Europe, Asia or South America or Native America, I do not deny what they realized in the concept of a high consciousness, a higher truth and an almighty. So I just do not take literally any religious scripture of how they literally are insisting we were created in some very extraordinary ways. Now, some people came thinking or believing that we evolved from primates, that evolved from some sort of whale species within the depths of the ocean is also extraordinary. But we are basing it based on genetics and genomes and similarities within our DNA structure. Now, but I do believe there's excellent messages and morals and values that we can learn from religious scriptures, whatever that religious scripture may be from anywhere on the planet. There's always a good message and a good moral to decipher from the underlying moral to the message of any parable that talks about love and peace and kindness and compassion. I think these are very important qualities that we can learn from any religious scripture. But just do not take literally what some scriptures say. And I'm sure there were real life events in some scriptures, some real life things that actually happened. But as you can tell, some scribes are very imaginative and have clearly exaggerated true life events and wrote down about these true life events in the form of parables, fictitious stories. So just do not take it literally. But I'm not saying or implying for 1 minute the frequency that we exist on this planet, and which makes our reality the reality that it currently is, due to the atoms vibrating at a certain speed and a certain rate, and our consciousness tuned into a certain frequency that makes our reality what it is at this current state. I'm not implying for 1 second that the supernatural and the most amazing far-fetched things that are clearly impossible on this planet are not possible in other frequencies, in other spiritual dimensions and other realms. I have had such extraordinary dreams regarding things that may be as futuristic as as what can be described as a Star Wars frequency, with all the most advanced technology and spaceships and extraterrestrials and other species in other galaxies, and I'm sure that's tuning into other frequencies that exist out there. And I've had very magical, mystical dreams where it's like tuning into the realms of the fairies and the elves and the giants and the dwarfs, the goblins and the hobbits. There's so many different frequencies that exist that I believe that we can tune into and experience consciously. So I'm not denying the far-fetched. I'm just saying, on this shitty planet Earth, fuck all happens on this planet. I'm telling you that right now. Fuck all happens on this planet. This planet is a load of bollocks compared to other galaxies out there. So that was basically it. I'm getting passionate about it, and I'm speaking it in a way for to make an impact, really, because it's going to create confusion. It's going to make people criticize. It's going to make people laugh. It's going to make people insult. But it's to grab your attention. That's the main purpose of why I'm speaking the way I'm speaking, and that is it. So yes, so I believe we evolved from and there's only difference in paths. There's difference in paths, but the energy that we all created, that we all believe in, is the same. So it doesn't matter what language you have to refer to the energy. Difference in language does not mean difference in God. It just means difference in language. So we believe the energy is the same whether we refer to the energy as Bhagwan, Har Har, Khuda, Aura Mazda, Maratuk, El, Ella, Jah, Jehovah, Yahweh, Allah, Viracocha. These are the various names throughout the whole planet, whether South American, Incan, Mayans or Aztecs, or whether it's Native American or African spirituality, European spirituality, Middle Eastern or Asia. The difference in language does not mean difference in Almighty. It just means difference in language. So the energy and the omnipotent, the all-powerful, the all-pervading source of consciousness that we seek strength and hope and faith and happiness from, we believe is the same for all humanity. Now, some people say, just because we share 97% DNA with the macaque monkey, or 98% with the gorillas or the chimpanzees, we also share DNA with the banana, 60%. That doesn't mean we evolved from a banana now, does it? No, it doesn't. But what it means is the nucleus within the single cell that evolved the bacteria and the organisms within the depths of the ocean is the same for all existence. Every animal, plant, everything came from the same genetic material, the same single cell within the depths of the ocean. That's what it is implying. So science is amazing, and I think that anyone who chooses to try to divide people, to turn people against each other, or literal creationists who try to subject scientists to, you could really do this, just aggressive nursery rhymes. That's all it is. Aggressive nursery rhymes of insisting, because they haven't got the brain capacity to comprehend science, that it must be a nonsense. It's not nonsense. Science is the fact. Now, people will say, how can we as scientists talk about the world in a state it was when there was no human beings and there was no human beings? How can we claim that we know what the planet was going through? Because it's called deductive reasoning. We look at the state of the planet is in now, and we look at organisms. And when you study the organisms and see this is the conditions that organisms must be in to multiply, to mutate, and to survive. And so then we look at conditions, what harsh conditions organisms cannot survive in. So we compare that when the molten lava was present on the planet before a sea or ocean or ice came into collision with the molten piece of lava, well, those are not the right conditions for organisms to survive. But when some sort of collision must have happened, some sort of impact where asteroids or ice comes into contact with the molten piece of lava and it cools down the molten piece of lava, crust starts to form, earth layers start to form, and oceans start to form. Now, this is a more suitable environment for organisms to survive. So it's just called deductive reasoning. So that's Govinda Singh, 1984, Gavlov 84 aria. I hope you enjoyed the mad professor's crazy psychotic rant, but hopefully you've been enlightened by a paranoid schizophrenic.